Hi, everybody, and welcome to Observing with Webb, where a high school astronomy teacher tells you what you're looking at, why it's so cool, and what you should check out next at night. You should make sure that you check out my Podbean page for this as a podcast, also on Stitcher and iTunes. You can check out my YouTube channel and my Twitter feed, which are both Mr. Webb PV, all one word, no punctuation. Let's talk about May. It's looking to be a good month. First of all, May 12th is coming up, and May 12th is the grand reopening of the Pequea Valley Planetarium, which all of you had a wonderful effect on. You helped me win that $100,000 grant from Farmers Insurance, and along with that, helped me get the school board to pony up the cash for a full digital system, and we are unveiling it to the public on May 12th. So there's lots of good things going on. We have, first of all, lots of STEM tables all around. So even if you didn't get a ticketed show ticket, you still have tons of stuff to do. We've got a bouncy house. We've got all kinds of activities, make goop, all kinds of fun things. So it's still going to be fun even if you never even get into the planetarium. But there are open house sessions where you can come in even if you didn't get a ticket and see some of the stuff that we can do. And also there is obviously shows. Now we will have a sort of waiting line in case there's extra seats, so you can come in and see some of those shows if you didn't get a ticket. But anyway, that's enough of that. Hopefully this is one of the last day of harried running around trying to get this video done things, and I can actually work on some of this stuff. So if you have been watching these, or if you're just coming in and watching it for the first time, if you have any ideas on how to make this better, more presentable, don't say get a different host. But if you have ideas, please comment them in the comments section or send me an email or something. I'd like to know what would be better for you guys. And here's a hint. I'm going to look into making this a VR sort of thing using the planetarium software. I don't know if that's going to work out, but we'll see. Anyway, May is a month for 4 out of the 5 naked eye planets, with Venus and Jupiter visible each night, and Mars and Saturn visible in the mornings, with close encounters between each of these and the moon. So let's start off with talking about some planets. Okay, so to summarize, we have Venus off in the west at sunset, Jupiter's moving from the east to the west throughout the night, and in the morning we can find Saturn and Mars off in the east. So let's talk about these a little more individually. First of all, the elephant in the room, Mercury is not visible this month at all. Now, Venus is looking pretty fantastic though. Venus is off in the west after sunset. In fact, let me put it up here. Let's look May 1st. And right around sunset, which is 8 o'clock, see Venus is way high up there, okay? And Venus, there we go. Venus is going to set throughout the night, and it'll be gone by around 9:30, 10 o'clock, okay? But if we go back to like 8:30-ish, and let's see what it does throughout the month. Notice it actually keeps getting a little bit higher this month. And toward the end of the month, it's going to be kind of the highest. It's sort of hanging out there, right up there, about 20 degrees above the western horizon. Great thing to look for this month. Now, let's zoom back out and go back to May 15th for an average night in May. And if we look at the whole sky, we don't really see all that much. However, there's Jupiter on the opposite side, off in the southeast. So Jupiter is going to be up already around sunset, as you can see. And let's go to 9 p.m. You see it there. Now what's going to happen, if you can follow this, is throughout the night, Jupiter is going to rise up a little bit and move toward the south. I have a very wide field of view here. And 3 a.m., 4 a.m., around 5 a.m., it's going to set, which is right about when the sun is rising. This is what's called opposition. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, but there's Saturn and Mars as well. Let's rewind the clock and see when we can find those two. So if I rewind the clock and I go back down, there's Saturn rising in the southeast. It's rising about midnight toward the middle of the month. Let's see, 1 a.m. at the beginning of the month, 11 p.m. at the end. And you're looking in the southeast around those times. And then Mars is going to rise up about 1:30 in the morning, anywhere between 12 midnight and 1 a.m. And they are apart from each other by about 15 degrees for the month. So if we zoom out a little bit, you'll notice that throughout the night they rise up. And by sunrise, Saturn is high up in the south, with Mars a little bit to the left of that. And those are the planets for the month. So don't forget, Mars and Saturn in the morning, Jupiter throughout the night, and Venus beautiful off in the west right after sunset.
And a bunch of other stuff.
So what other stuff do we have going on this month? Let's go through the month day by day. So on the 4th, may the 4th be with you, to the 7th, we have a beautiful lineup of the Moon, Saturn, and Mars. And what you're looking at here is the Moon's up here. It's a waning gibbous, and it's hanging out there on the morning of the 4th. I'm looking at about 4 a.m. Technically, you can see it a little earlier or a little later, but I'm looking at 4. And so you see a nice lineup. You see Saturn down here to the left, right above the teapot of Sagittarius, and Mars way down here to the left. So you get a nice lineup on the 4th. Now we know that the Moon passes through the constellations and moves about 10 degrees a day. And so you'll see now on the 5th, you'll see that Saturn, the Moon, and Mars sort of line up, but the Moon is right in the middle in this little part. I think that's the shoulder of Sagittarius. But that's a really neat lineup as well. So that'll help you find Saturn and Mars real easily on the 5th. Just look to the right for Saturn, left for Mars. Then on the next night, you've got the Moon and Mars close together. In fact, they are only about, it's not letting me do it. There we go. They're only about 2 degrees apart. That's 2 pinkies apart, the width of your pinkies. Okay? And then on the 7th of May, we've got all of them lining up again, but the Moon's on the opposite side now, and it's a last quarter moon. That brings us to, again, the 7th is when we get the last quarter moon. Also happening around this time, this is the 8th. Actually, let me go forward today. Not that the image counts, but Jupiter is at opposition. And what that means is we have the Sun, the Earth, and Jupiter are all lined up, essentially. But the idea there is that now we can see Jupiter all throughout the night. It's the longest time we're going to be able to see Jupiter. It's rising around sunset and setting around sunrise, so it's a neat time. But basically your best time to check out Jupiter. Okay, so if you recall, if you were to look at the Moon throughout the next couple days, you'll notice in the mornings that it gets lower in the sky and a little bit thinner. There we go. And we're not going to have much going on until May 15th, which is when we have the new moon, darkest skies at that point. And then we switch on over. Let's zoom out a little bit, and let's look toward the west, and let's change it to about sunset on the 17th. And at sunset on the 17th, you notice over here, you have a nice view of the Moon and Venus. They're high above the horizon, but there's a nice thin crescent moon with Venus off to the right. This should be a really good picture opportunity for you guys. You can ignore Orion down here. It's just in the glare, so you're not going to be able to see that. But they're only 5 degrees apart, which is about, if you hold 3 fingers together, that's about 5 degrees at arm's length. Okay? All right, so we got the 17th, Moon and Venus. Oh, here's what I want to do. I may not be able to get graphics in here, but on the 19th, maybe the 20th, or I'm sure there's a launch window there, NASA's going to be sending another cargo mission, a resupply to the International Space Station. And that's actually happening from Wallops Island in Virginia. I love this because, A, it's a rocket going off into space. B, they live stream this stuff, so you can actually watch it even if you're sitting on your couch. Number 3, I like it because it's close by. You can actually go there, and they have public viewing options there. But check out their website. And also part 4, letter D, I love the fact that they put out information. You might be able to see this, especially if it's a dawn or dusk one. I've seen them from Ephrata before, but you might be able to see them. So check out Wallops Flight Facility on Facebook and online and on Twitter and all that, and you should be able to find out the information that you need. They tend to do it pretty close to the event, not too much in advance. And don't forget, it's weather dependent, so if the weather's not good, it's not going to happen for a while, but they keep trying. Okay? So 19th, 20th, you'll see a rocket launch at Wallops. All right, so then we've got the first quarter moon on the 21st. Here we are at the 21st. You see a nice first quarter moon, and it's actually not that far from Regulus, which is pretty neat as well. So that's the first quarter moon on the 21st. We start getting a little more light pollution from the moon, and not much is happening, but you see how far the moon is from Jupiter? Well, let's move it forward a week from the 21st to the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and on the 27th, the moon and Jupiter are back together again. And if you're having trouble finding Jupiter, you can use that day to help you find Jupiter by using the moon. They're only about 5 degrees apart. Then the full moon is actually 2 days later on the 29th. And then, let's see, we got to move forward a little bit. There we go. There's Saturn. You'll notice that the moon's getting closer. And then on the morning, or on the evening of the 31st, the morning of June 1st, you'll see that the moon and Saturn are actually pretty close together. In fact, I believe they're only 2 degrees apart. Yep, about 2 degrees apart on the evening of the 31st. Once they rise up after about 11:30, you can check out the moon and Saturn close together.
Are there patterns in our skies? Are patterns only in our eyes?
All right, so constellations. I'm going to go a little bit off script here and just talk about some of the spring constellations that you can find in the night sky. So your guidepost here for the spring is going to be the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is very high in the north, so if you look north and look almost straight up, Big Dipper should be very easy to find. Now there's 2 directions I want to go with this. One direction is toward Regulus, which is Leo right down here. What you can do, look at those 2 stars in the middle of the Big Dipper right here, these 2 stars here, and they sort of make a line, and if you follow that line below the spoon and keep going to a very bright star down here, you find Regulus, which is the brightest star in Leo the Lion. Leo the Lion has this backward question mark here, and it also has a right triangle to the left of the question mark, right over here. So there's Leo the Lion, spring constellation. The other 3 that I want to point out here, which I think are really neat, if you go back to the Big Dipper and you go to the handle, what you can do is you can follow the handle of the Big Dipper and follow that arc that it makes, and follow the arc to Arcturus, which is the brightest star in Bootes. Now, Arcturus being the brightest star in Bootes, here you can use your creative mind to see a kite, is what I see, or a baseball bat. Way back in the day, they saw a shepherd. I don't know. Use your imagination. They did back then anyway. Over to the left of that is Corona Borealis. I don't like this star stick figure. There should be another one here and 2 more here in my opinion, but somebody else made those up. And then to the left of that, you will see the Hercules keystone. Now this whole constellation is Hercules, but the keystone is pretty neat. And within that Hercules keystone, there we go, is the Hercules cluster, which is a beautiful, beautiful cluster of stars that you can see maybe with your naked eye as a little small fuzzy patch, or with binoculars you can actually check out the thousands of stars that are in that star cluster. So, but that's pretty much it for the month of May. I really hope that you come out to May 12th to the grand reopening. I'd love to see everybody there. Also, get out and see if you can find out more about that rocket launch and actually go and witness it. I guarantee you, it's going to be very much worth it. So anyway, this is me wishing you very clear, dark skies for the month of May.